If you've looked at the Vertu Signature Touch and thought, I wish it was just that little bit more subtle, then perhaps this is what you're looking for. It's the brand new Vertu Constellation. And unlike the Signature Touch, it's a very different looking and different feeling phone. And it could just be the Vertu smartphone for you. So what are the key differences between a Signature Touch and the new Constellation? Well, the big change that actually increases the subtlety is the design and the slimness of the phone itself. This is a much slimmer body, and it has this gorgeous aluminium chassis which extends around the sides and a very nicely machined groove all the way along the edge, which increases in-hand comfort a great deal. There's no sharp edges, really feels fantastic. It's also quite light for a Vertu smartphone. You might remember from the new Signature Touch these very cool gull-wing doors that popped up either side. Well, there's none of that here. These are fixed panels on this very familiar Vertu section on the rear. Now, that may make you ask, where is the SIM card? Because traditionally it was behind one of these panels. Well, it's in a much more smartphone traditional pop-out section here. Now, there's a good reason for this. It's a dual SIM phone, and that's the first time Vertu has decided to use dual SIM on one of its smartphones. So that makes it even better for international use. Vertu traditionally has a lot of bands inside its phones anyway, so you don't usually have an issue using it internationally, but two SIMs is a very handy thing to have. This one you're looking at here is Berry. This is a red leather. The leather itself is sourced from a family-run tannery in Italy, and it's the same tannery that's used throughout the range. So you're always going to get the same quality, but a lovely finish. This one, as we said, is Berry. We have one here which is Walnut, which is subtle brown, and finally one which may become our favourite, this which is Octane, and it's a bluey grey, a steely grey, which is really, really cool. So going back to the Constellation, we know that there's no gull-wing doors. It's a lot more subtle for that aspect, and we've got a very simple finish on the side. You do have a ruby on the top here, as usual for a Vertu device, and that activates the Concierge service. If you're not familiar with Vertu, then Concierge is your personal assistant, but not a virtual personal assistant. It's a real person that's on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help you out with whatever super business deal or wonderful, exciting weekend away you're planning, and they'll do all that stuff for you. Another cool first on the Constellation is a fingerprint sensor on the front here. This is no longer a physical home button. This is a fingerprint sensor in the front there. That's really nice. The screen covered in sapphire glass as usual, so that's highly scratch resistant. Underneath is a brand new screen. This is higher resolution than usual. This is a 2560 by 1440 pixel display. Very attractive from what we've seen here. The camera is another new addition. This is a 12 megapixel camera, becoming quite a fashion thing for an Android smartphone to have a 12 megapixel camera. We've given it a few test shots inside. It looks good. There's a bigger pixel size than usual, so it's dealing with low light quite well. We'll have to give it a longer test to know how it stands up with the competition. The Constellation runs Android. It's Android 6.0, which is a little bit disappointing, but as usual, Vertu hasn't given it a giant user interface over the top. It's still recognizable as Android. As usual, you have built-in Vertu services such as encrypted and secured calls. There's an anti-theft service. There's ways to customize your phone from that respect. There's also Vertu Life, which is access to super special deals. If you've got the money to buy a Vertu phone, you've got the money to do this sort of thing, a VIP package to the Super Bowl, or extremely hard to find tickets to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. So you can ask your Vertu Concierge to get you those sorts of things using the device. Inside is a Snapdragon 820 processor. There's 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigabytes of storage. So on the tech side, it's about what we'd expect from Vertu. You don't always buy these for being high-tech phones. You buy them because of the superb build quality and the high-end luxury materials. And as usual, this is a fine smartphone from Vertu. Really like this. This is going to be coming out soon. We're still waiting for the price to be confirmed, but it is going to be cheaper than the new Signature Touch. So if that always put you off a bit with the Signature Touch, this is going to be a lower price point for you to give it a try. You can read more about the new Vertu Constellation on Digital Trends right now.